This went from a haha funny candy adventure to the existential horrors of 3D animation real quick. Hey, it's Allie, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Episode 2 of the amazing digital circus is here, and this may be a hot take, but it's better than the first one. I know. Get your pitchforks ready. Because with everything set up from the pilot, we get to dive just headfirst into action and also a lot of character moments. A lot of character moments. And of course the animation just keeps on getting better, and I love that the 3D animation process is now a core canon fundamental of this world, and I can't wait to see where we go with that. And trust me, I have many theories. The spirit of MatPat has come back from the dead to inject theories into my brain for me to share with all of you. So if at any time you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe, because I make videos like this all the time, and comment down below what some of your favorite theories are, or if you have some of your own. Trust me, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into some of the characters too, because this is largely a character study now. A lot of what Goose has been saying on Twitter has been like, oh, this show's really gonna be about characters, which Gully Pop. You just said the right words to me. That mixed with a little sprinkle of world building. Ooh, we got ourselves a fantastic show. So let's jump into it. So, of course, just to kind of recap from last episode, by judging by the 300 million people who watched it, I don't think I really need to recap, but Pomni put on a headset, or is very much so implied that she put on a headset and now is here in this digital world. Whether or not it works on Sword Art Online rules and you're dead in the game, you're dead for real, who knows? That is still yet to be discovered. We'll talk a little bit about that later. But Pomni now is stuck in this world with a bunch of other wacky and crazy and zany people. And Caine, this robust and I don't want to say hostile, which we'll also get to that later, AI has set up these elaborate kind of playtime-esque worlds for these characters to go down, which I think I talked a little bit back in the last video I did about what is Caine actually doing, why he's doing it. I'm gonna reiterate it here as well. So in this episode, we start with Pomni having a nightmare that she has started to abstract. She gets thrown into a pit, and everyone has some very interesting things to say about her as she is falling down this pit. And it's also worth noting, and maybe a little nod to something later on about her character, that she did not fully abstract before she got thrown down this pit. It makes me wonder if she believes that if she even starts to abstract, it's all over for her, because we see in the first episode Ragatha actually starts to abstract, and it's really scary, but Caine just fixes her almost immediately. So I'm wondering if there is a level of abstraction that is too far gone, and why Pomni thinks an arm would be that too far gone. I'd like to think too, I think this is a metaphorical sense of Pomni's anxieties and how she feels like she could be discarded at any moment, and how she doesn't really fit into this world and this team. But don't worry, we'll get to all that. So she wakes up really startled, and with a start falls out of her bed and clips into a block that is right below her, which foreshadows really nicely into the rest of this episode. But also the fact that this is a constant thing that's going to be happening. In the first episode it happened, and I thought oh haha, that's just a funny little Easter egg for people who know about 3D animation and the wackiness of 3D animation. No, it's canon now. Oh, it's so canon. Don't even worry, it's gonna get even more canon later. Caine then invites them to go on another grand adventure, which he doesn't seem to force people to go on these adventures, notably. Zooble does not go on these adventures, and I wonder if that's gonna be a recurring gag slash thing that's Pomni can just say no when she wants to say no. She doesn't want to go on this adventure. Maybe there'll be a breaking point where she's just no, I'm not doing this anymore. And Caine is just okay, I mean, you're stuck here. I'm just trying to make it better for you, type of thing. I have a feeling it might go down that route with Zooble. But this adventure would take place in this candy kingdom. No relation. And Bubble says it sounds sticky. And then...
Sounds...
Bubble, you can't say that.
Bubble is my favorite character. If Bubble has no lovers in this world, I am dead. Also, the voice acting is just it's just top notch. It's just top notch. You can find all the voice actors on Twitter. I highly suggest you go follow them, check out all of their works. Like it's so good. The comedic timing of it all, and also the improv. Like you can tell like a lot of these lines are kind of like improv, the like sputtering moments especially. And it's always fun to see voice actors do that because it's like, oh, you're like, are actually in character. You're not just reading lines off of a page. Like, you're bringing life and your own like whimsy to this character. That's always like really nice to see. So the gang in this case being Ragatha, Pomni, Jax, Kinger, and not me forgetting the ribbon. What's the name? Gangle. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Gangle. I feel like that I'm so sorry. I forgot Gangle's name. My bad. Sorry to all the Gangle lovers out there. They all head into this candy kingdom where they have to help get syrup back from these bandits that stole it. So they very quickly find these like 3 gummy alligator Australian gummy looking alligator things who are stealing the syrup to bring back to their village because apparently it can help cure diseases, I guess. And so much at pretty much everybody else except for Jack's behest, they enter into this Mad Max Fury Road type of like car chase against the other team. And here Pomni is mentally and physically being pulled apart. I wonder how she's gonna react to like being a part of like the next adventures. Like here she's still like very apprehensive and very like, I don't really know if I want to be here or do this, but especially once we see at the end of the episode, she seems to like come along a little bit. So I'm like wondering how she will fit in, like what her archetype / trope will be in terms of like doing this, because Ragatha seems like, you know, the sensible leader type who isn't really listened to all that much, but she is definitely the one like leading the charge a lot of the time. Jax is Jax, don't worry, we'll get to him, and everybody else kind of has their little role that they kind of fit into when they go on adventure. So I wonder what Pomni's, especially being the main character, what her role is going to be if she is like gung-ho about going on the next adventure. So the leader of this like group of like gummy alligators is named GUMIGOO. He ends up being really, really important. Jax is being like, we need to talk about this scene. We need to talk about this scene.
I don't think we...
Aren't you supposed to be submissive and agreeable? Move it!
Do it, or I'll tell Ragatha about the figurine thing.
Oh, you're gonna tell about what now? Huh? I will say though, shout out to Gangle and Kinger for this episode. I think I was worried about them kind of being swept to the side and being like these like really small niche fan favorites, but like they have their moments, especially Gangle especially in this episode has their moments, and I want like to see more of them like in the upcoming like episodes, especially about that like collection, like what's up with that. Like I kind of really want to know what that's about. And Kinger is like this old man who just like is crazy but like has something wise to say. I don't like, that is so weird that that's a trope. Like it's literally the crazy old man trope, I guess, instead of like wise old man, it's crazy old man, where it's like, oh, he's crazy, he has nothing of value to say until he says something of value, and you're like, that was actually really deep and profound. And then he goes immediately back to being crazy. I love that trope so much. Like I never get enough of it. I love crazy old man. What could I say? Don't clip that. So Kinger, in an attempt to help Pomni, accidentally runs them off the road, and Jax is upset about it because Jax is Jax. And Pomni and GUMIGOO, the leader, go flying, and they end up clipping through the bottom of the world. This scene, we gotta go step by step. First, let's talk about the beginning of the scene. So they're falling through the world, and at the bottom of this world is a test world. But before they even get to the bottom, before we even get there, they pass by a bunch of teapots. Now, if you don't know anything about 3D animation or 3D modeling, then you may not know what the fuck this is. This is a primitive shape. And if you're like, what? Primitive shape? What? In most 3D modeling programs, there are a bunch of 3D primitive shapes that you can use that are usually like a square, like a cube, or I was gonna say a triangle, a cone. That's the 3D version of a pyramid. Anyway, a cylinder, a little like tourist looking thing, like a donut looking thing, and then of course a teapot. Now I have tried to look up many a times why the fuck there is a teapot primitive shape in any 3D modeling software. Usually it just comes up, I think it's for testing. I'm gonna look it up, but I'm pretty sure off the top of my head from my remembering things, it's just for testing like materials and stuff like that, because it's such a complex shape. If you want to test a material, it would be like a good way to test it. So it's just funny, but it's such a gag within like 3D animation and 3D modeling like spaces that like there's this weird teapot just here. You never really use it for anything. Even if you're testing stuff, you still probably will never really use it. So to have it there, it seems really random, but it's such a funny Easter egg. Like if nothing else, the show will teach you about 3D animation. So then they hit the ground, and then GUMIGOO sees himself and all of his buddies in a T-posing way, and his mind breaks his existential crises full mode, he realizes that he is not real. Pomni also like pretty much confirms to him like, hey, yeah, you're like not real, but you can be real. Like, I don't see why you can't be real, which I think would be really interesting if we continue to touch on that subject of like what is real, what is not real, what is human, what is not human. Caine also, this is important to mention because somebody did mention this on Twitter and it blew my mind. Caine did mention at the beginning of this episode that he was trying out a new AI and it's like more robust. So begs the question, is this person actually like, is GUMIGOO actually like having a mind break and realizing that he's not real or becoming real in our sense of the word? Or is the AI just so robust and so crazy to the point where it believes that it's real but knows that it's not real? Like in the same sense that if you were to ask ChatGPT like about how to take over the world, it may give you a haha funny answer, but it knows that it's an AI and like it wouldn't really, well, I can't say it wouldn't really do that, but it knows that it's an AI. It will never be like, I am human. It knows that it's an AI. And so that begs the question, like, yeah, GUMIGOO thinks he's real, right? But was he ever like actually, like, that's the thing of like, was he ever actually real, or was this just Caine being like, let's dial up the realism to 11? Like, I have no doubt that this will be explored in later like episodes, but that was insane to witness, especially in episode 2. This came out of nowhere. They did so well in hiding what was going on. Like, I don't remember the trailer because I watched the trailer a couple times and I do not remember the trailer at all having this in it. Like, there's also another part of the trailer which we'll get to in a second about Jax, but like, it is so interesting to me that like that literally hit us like a truck. So Pomni then tries to cheer up GUMIGOO by saying like, hey, you're not nothing. Where I come from, like, we definitely know what it feels like to be nothing or to feel like you're nothing, and I don't think that you are. There's no reason that you should be, which, like, you know, very clearly maybe Pomni was going through some stuff back in the day, the way she acts about her anxiety and things like that, and of course flashing back to her nightmare that she had at the beginning of the episode. Caine, Ragatha, and Jax pretty much say things along the lines of like, guess she couldn't hack it, guess she couldn't be here. And I want to touch on that for a second because there are some theories going around. I think the like MatPat theory was about this, but that this was a company that like maybe made games or something, and maybe all the employees are the people in this world and they somehow got either trapped inside or willingly put themselves inside. And honestly, I'm starting to lean more towards that because the way she was speaking and the way that like Caine, Jax, and Ragatha were talking in her head, in her dream, it really did seem like it was more from a place of like, I don't belong here, in the sense that like, this is a new job, like imposter syndrome. Do I really belong in this space? Did like, especially for creative jobs, people feel this all the time in any job, but like especially in creative jobs, it can feel like, am I creative enough? Am I talented enough to be in this field, in this job, etc., etc.? And the way Pomni acts with her anxiety and the way they came off to her in her dream, like, oh, guess she just couldn't hack it. I don't even remember her name, blah, blah, blah. It seems like these are the anxieties of someone who joined a company and just doesn't know if they're fit for it, right? Because it doesn't really seem like something a friend would say, like, oh, she couldn't hack it. Like, okay, maybe I don't even remember her name, yes, but like, she couldn't hack it is very reminiscent of like being in school or being at a job and like quitting because like you couldn't hack it, or leaving or something of that nature because you couldn't hack it, you couldn't make it, or blah blah blah. It's just, this isn't cut out for everything, which is what which is what Ragatha says. That is not like something you would say to a friend, you know what I mean? That seems more something that like a colleague would say behind your back, like somebody at work. So I'm definitely leaning towards Pomni being a part of like a company and joining this possibly VR company or something of that nature, and this is like what happened to her. She somehow ended up in this world. Maybe they also all used to work at the company, who knows? It's just a theory. So Pomni promises GUMIGOO like, hey, you know what, you had your earth shattered, you had your whole world shattered, why don't you just come back with me to the circus? Okay, yes, this world isn't real, but I believe you to be real, you believe yourself to be real, so you might as well come back with us to the circus. And he, you know, he's like, all right, you know, I could get with that. And she's like, okay, well, first we have to get out of here. And Pomni's like, I'm gonna see if I can clip us through these boxes in this extra car that's here and try to bounce us back and clip us back through the world. And that also leads credence to this being like her from a company or something, because while yes, she has experience doing these things before, like in both in the first episode and at the beginning of this episode, however, it seems like she knows a lot of the terminology and a lot of the lingo, and because of that, I have, again, leaning heavily towards her being a part of this company or some type of company along this nature. Also, the music in this section, the music in this whole episode is so good. At first I was sad because I was like, oh, we're not gonna get the theme song again, which we don't, but the music, this needs to be put on vinyl. And it's so good. The music is so good. I wish I had more to say about it. I wish I did. I wish I knew anything about music to be like, music go good, brain go bird. Like, that's all I have to say. I'm sorry. It's just so good. So meanwhile, the rest of the gang is hanging out in this fudge lake, and they meet this fudge monster who is just kind of like, I want to destroy the town, and they're like, I don't know about that, except for Jax, because Jax is Jax, and he's just like, well, I have the key to the town, which he stole from Ragatha, so if you help us get back, you can go ravage the town and kill everybody in it, because they're all made of candy and he wants to eat everybody. And the fudge monster is just like, hell yeah, brother, and helps them like get back, and they're on their way back when Pomni and GUMIGOO clip back into reality. They knock the fudge monster out, and Jax is depressed. Now in the trailer, we saw a clip of Jax in the corner sulking, and everybody was like, oh my god, do we actually get to see Jax depressed? Do we get to see him have any type of emotion? Oh my god, like, it was, Twitter was going insane. Just to find out that he was just pissed off that there was no big giant battle and bloodshed and destruction going on. I'm so tired of him already. I was so tired of him already. And that is not even the end of me talking about him. There's more. The last part of this video is going to be me talking about him. Strap in. But anyway, let's end this episode. So there's 2 trucks now full of syrup. And so GUMIGOO was like, hey, why don't we take this one truck back to the village so the day will be saved for them, and we can take this one back to the Candy Kingdom. The day will be saved for them. It's good, blah, 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 blah. So they're getting ready to leave, and Jax, the fudge monster, is on its way back, and Jax is like, hell yeah, I'm so happy about this. And then they go through the portal. So they go through the portal, and GUMIGOO is there. At first I thought GUMIGOO wasn't going to be able to even go through the portal, but he is, which leads credence to like, is he really human or is he not human? Because why would an NPC be able to go through the portal? I don't know. I don't know. But Caine then sees this and is like, oh, Pomni, I think this guy accidentally got through, and then he kills him. He just poofs him out of existence. R.I.P. GUMIGOO. You would have hated those fucking shark Swedish fish things, not the Swedish fish ones, the shark ones. He would have, that's what I feel like he tastes like. But you would have hated those. God. And Pomni is literally about to lose her fucking mind. And Ragatha's trying to quell the situation and is just like, you know what? You know, maybe you'll see him again. Maybe. But Pomni knows that her whole world was literally just fucking shattered just now. And she's about to go crazy, but Ragatha's like, hey, do you want to come to this like funeral we're gonna have for Kaufmo? And that kind of brings us all really back down to reality of like, oh, this is a human, and they all are aware that they are human, or at least used to be human. So, and we don't know where anybody goes once they like abstract and get thrown into a pit. So we don't know what happens after that. Like, we don't know if you're dead in the game, you're dead in real life. We don't know. I am inclined to believe that they're probably not. I have a feeling this is some at least metaphorical form of like limbo, and so they have to get through their own problems, and if they can't get through it, they abstract. If they do get through it, maybe they'll become alive again or something of that nature. I do think it's more metaphorical than it is like literal, because I do think Caine as an AI is real. We'll get to him in like a half a second, but yeah. And Pomni kind of has this full circle moment for her where you see her falling again into this pit, and Ragatha reaches out her hand and like helps Pomni up. And I think it's this realization in this moment for her that like, we're all in this together, quite literally. Like, they're not gonna forget about you, they're not gonna abandon you. If something happens, they will try their best to like be there for you. And Ragatha especially has been trying her hardest this entire episode to like make sure Pomni is okay. And I know the shippers are happy. Oh, but yeah, Caine, I want to talk about Caine before I talk about Jax. Caine, I do think he's not malicious, and I think even gooseworx said this, like, Caine isn't malicious in the sense that like he's out to get you. Like, he is an antagonist. It's more that he's an AI that, in my opinion, I feel like just believes that he knows what's right for humans, and because of that, he's going to go to the extremes to like make sure that, like, it seems like he kind of knows that you're kind of just stuck in this place, and he wants to make that as best for you as possible. Like, it's like the most extreme version of being serving to humans. Like, he's like, I am subservient to humans to the most extreme way, that I know what's best for them and you don't. As a human, you don't know what's best for you. Humans do not know what's best for them. I do, though, as an AI. And so I'm going to put on this facade of this circus and make it seem all hoo hoo ha ha, and make sure that you have fun adventures so you literally don't go insane while you're stuck here, because that's probably what happened. He probably didn't have all these fun adventures, and then he realized that all the humans that were in here were going insane. So I think that's a pretty good like theory on Caine. I do. All right, let's talk about Jax. So the one moment we get here, which made me immediately go, I need to go to Twitter, was when Ragatha said that Kaufmo was going to have a funeral. Jax, for literally 2.2 seconds, not even a full second, 0.2 seconds, was like sad about it for like half a second, and then like shoved that feeling down and walked away. And as soon as that happened, I said, oh, that's all I needed to see. That's all I needed to see. And I went to Twitter, and lo and behold, that's what people were talking about. And then gooseworx had the nerve to later said only the strongest Jax like fans are gonna make it through this season. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? For me, I interpret that as Jax is about to do some absolutely deplorable ass shit, and there's only so much you can be like, well, he's Tumblr sexy man. Also on Twitter recently, gooseworx has said that everybody remembers who they are, so they don't know that they're not human or anything like that. They know who they are. They just specifically don't remember their name, which is like already insane in its own theories and like implications. Let me know down in the comments below if you have any theories about that. But like, that means that everybody knows that they're probably in a world that's not really real, and that makes a lot of sense for Jax and the way that he treats this world. Like, he literally treats it like a video game playground. I can just do whatever I want and it has absolutely no consequences. And I have a feeling part of his character arc will be the fact that this actually has consequences for him, and maybe it'll be with like what it means to be human or just having empathy for other people. I don't know. I cannot wait to see where we go with Jax. I'm so excited. Now listen, I love a good morally gray, dubious, sometimes outright bad character, okay? So I'm fine. In the state of landscape of like fandoms, especially on Twitter, who knows? But I'm fine, okay? I'm fine. I still have that Jax plush in the cart. It's getting closer to me pressing checkout every day. It really is. Every episode, it's getting closer and closer to me pressing checkout. Anyway, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If you did, you are a real one. I, for one, cannot wait to see what Jax does. gooseworx did not need to give all of that like stuff like on Twitter about that. Like, that was unnecessary. But now all I'm gonna be thinking about that is that, because Jax was barely in this episode. So for you to like say that is like, oh, I need to be paying attention. Anyway, let me know how you felt about this episode, all the characters, if you have any theories. I probably missed something, so let me know. I definitely feel like this is some type of metaphorical limbo, but you let me know down in the comments below. You can come check me out. I promise I'm going to stream soon. I promise, guys. Finals is almost over. I promise. And then it's Stardew Valley. I really want to like marathon Stardew Valley and maybe make a video out of it. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. Love and peace. This is my new personality. The show, not singing.